Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. I haven't said those words in so long. This almost feels weird, almost. But then I remember I'm doing this for the family. Yes, you guys mean a lot to me, and I really did miss you guys. I'll explain later everything that has gone on. But for now, welcome. Thank you for attending this episode of One Track Record, where we talk about track records, primarily the ones that we have interpersonally, our personal ones, and ultimately the ones we have with the Most High. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for those who have reached out in support and asked if I'm okay. Yes, everything is okay. I promise. I promise. I'll explain later. But for now, for those of you who are here for the very first time, welcome. We are a family. We like to kick back, we like to chill. Okay? You are more than welcome to join us in the live chat when we have live broadcasts. Typically, we would have them on either a Wednesday night or a Sunday night, but being that things may change, I will keep you posted. But until then, enjoy on either a Wednesday or Sunday night. I am your host, Shaina, and today I wanted to speak on something that I think would be beneficial both for men and for women. This is why this is in CD format. For those of you who are not familiar, on One Track Record, we are able to have episodes that are for men and women through the CD format. And then we have the cassette tape episodes that are side A for women, B for men. If you have not, please check those out. I was told that they are very informative and they do go in depth and they were very helpful. To that, I say, don't thank me. Thank the Most High who really directed me to talk about those things. Because on this channel, we do not encourage this whole gender war nonsense that's going on. Okay? I'm not here for that. And if I catch you doing it, all right, let me chill. No, y'all, because I get upset when I see this and not here. We not doing that over here. Okay? But before I get into anything for today, I gotta hit you with the disclaimer, okay? You saw this coming. I know y'all saw this coming. Warning. Shaina is not a licensed psychologist, psychiatrist, therapist, or medical professional. Okay. As much as you may have love for your girl, I am not trying to catch any suits. Okay. I am not trying to give you professional advice. Okay. If you feel the need to, please seek a therapist or medical professional if you feel that what we are talking about today applies to you. I'm not here to single anyone out or stigmatize anyone for how they may feel if they are going through it. We are just here to encourage each other, get a general consensus, and to feel better. There's a lot going on in the world right now, okay? And I'm here to talk. Now, with that being said, let's talk about rest. Now, One Track, what inspired you in particular to talk about rest of all things? Well, I feel like it's been appropriate for the obvious reason that I have taken a hiatus from this project, being that I can't sit here amongst family and talk about rest and I don't take the opportunity to do what I talk about. And One Track, when you talk about rest, exactly what do you mean? Well, I'm sure for the most part, everybody here understands that usually when you hear rest, you're maybe thinking of sleeping primarily or maybe just taking a break. I'm here to tell you there's more than one way to get rest, but we also need to look at this. In order to get the right rest, you need to pinpoint in which area you feel either A, tired, B, restless, or C, anxious. So, this kind of leaves room for questioning some more, right? Because if you're feeling tired, obviously you would need rest. But anxious? And to that, I say, yes, we're going to look at that. So, one track, how do I know if I'm tired? What does that look like if I'm tired and it's not obvious when it comes to, okay, I'm not physically tired, but I feel tired? Why do I feel the way I do? And that is a great question, and it's a valid question. So, for those of you who have been here before, you know me when it comes to making lists of things so that things can be clarified. So I've comprised a list of about 10 things that would require you to take a bit of introspection, to look inside of yourself and see, okay, not only do I feel the way I do, why do I feel the way I do, and what can I do about it? Which we're going to follow up with a separate list of about 6 or 7 things to get the rest you need. Sounds good, right? So here are some good indications that you need rest, whether that be mental rest, emotional rest, physical rest, and spiritual rest. And in order for you to get the rest that you need, I stress this, you have to be real with yourself. Okay? You cannot mask these things. You cannot suppress these things. Your feelings, you are entitled to your feelings. If there's anything I can stress on this channel, doesn't matter what episode, you are entitled to your feelings, but you are responsible for how you carry those feelings out, how you deal with those feelings, and how you treat yourself and you treat other people. Okay? Amongst the list, you might notice M, E, P, and S, which is for mentally, emotional, physical, or spiritual. Okay? With that being said, let's get into the official list. So, what are some of the things, one track, that I may need to look out for? So, this, my friends, is how I will introduce one track record. I'm tired. What type of rest do I need? Let's go ahead and look into the first. Number 1, you may have the constant feeling of I'm tired, accompanied by lack of energy, even with coffee. And if you see right here, I put mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. Why did I put all 4? Let's talk about it. Folks, we're all adults here for the most part, right? We're all 18 and up. If you're not 18, I'm praying that you get somewhat of insight into what the adult world will look like through this episode. Folks, can we be real for just a second? How many of you, by a show of hands in the chat, if you're in the live chat, or maybe you want to chime in the comment section, how many of you have legit said the words I'm tired, but you were not physically tired? Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever legit told somebody I'm tired and you were not physically tired. Exactly. Now, someone may ask, well, if I'm not physically tired and someone happens to ask me, how am I doing? Why do I have the initial urge to say I'm tired? Well, the reason why I put all four is because eventually, what happens when you are not real with yourself, don't take the time out to get to acknowledge how you feel mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. That energy, those emotions, that mental anguish that you may be going through, that spiritual anguish that you may be going through can then manifest in the physical. And sometimes, right, it doesn't matter how much you sleep, you can still be tired because you're not getting the right rest. I don't know if you're picking up what I'm putting down, right? So this episode in this very first item on this list is one I want you to pay attention to the most, because we're going to get later into the type of rests that you may need so you don't have the urge to say I'm tired when you're not physically tired. You can say, when somebody asks you how you're doing, you can actually genuinely say, you know what? I've had better days, but I'm here. I'm blessed. Amen. Let's go to number 2. Number 2, you may get frequent migraines or headaches or muscular pain. I'm talking upper back, neck, and shoulders, which obviously in this case would be physical, but this can also be rooted in both mental or spiritual or both. See, the thing here that I really want you to pay attention to, things can manifest in the mental and spiritual first, which then tug at your emotions, but the final stage shows up in the physical. So if you're a person who happens to feel your feelings, especially silently, because maybe you feel that people either A, don't understand you, or B, care, please understand that you're not doing yourself a favor keeping in those emotions and then wondering why you constantly feel pain in your body. Pain in your body is literally your body's chance of warning you that something isn't right. We are metaphysical beings. We are literally spirits walking around in meat suits. Okay? If I'm frank with you. So, we're going to get into that type of rest and what that looks like so that you don't continue to have muscular pain, neck pain, back pain, migraines, all of these things. And I'm speaking from experience because I am a person. Ask me 2 years ago how I was doing the absolute most, stressing myself out, constantly getting those migraines. The migraines, for those who suffer from migraines. Put a 2 in the chat if you've ever suffered from migraines or you currently suffer. Some of you that have had migraines may understand the type of migraines I may have had, where my teeth were chattering and I was on the verge of tears and nausea. Those type of migraines. That is when I know for a fact I'm being attacked spiritually and mentally, which then plays on my emotions. And I used to go ahead and lash out. I would not be real with how I felt. So trust me, if there's anybody who may know how you feel, for those who suffer from migraines especially, come talk to me, whether it be through email or through my DMs. You know where to find me. Okay. Check the top of this episode for all my information. But let's go ahead to the third one. You may experience feelings of, I can't deal with this right now. Oh boy. Men, are you here in the chat? Where y'all at? Because I really want to talk to y'all. I think the women already understand this, but men, we live in a society, and I'm sad to say, and I apologize as a woman, that men aren't really allowed to acknowledge how they feel in regards to, I am overwhelmed, I am overstimulated. I feel society has pushed it so that women are always able to express themselves with what they can or cannot deal with at the time being. Whether you're a single woman, whether you're married with kids or you have kids and you're single, women for the most part are always given a pass, even if they're called emotional, right? But what happens with the men of our society who are also human, who also deal with their own struggles, who are also fathers? Maybe you're single fathers, maybe you're married. When do you get the time to outwardly feel, not be judged, can actually lean on another person to just understand, not judge, and not tell your business? Do you see how this is a problem and you may need rest emotionally or mentally? Because maybe you're a little used to carrying that physically to the point where it's masked because maybe you have a physical job that requires physical labor. So you're missing the signs of the physical, but now emotional or mentally, you just want to check out. You don't want to have nothing to do with nobody, right? I'm talking to the men right now. I see you. I understand you. And I'm going to teach you just through this episode how you're going to get the rest you need as well. I need the ladies to share this with somebody, especially a man who's single. I need them to see this because a society with weakened men will fall. A woman, I'm sorry, I don't care how much society has gassed you up. Women, you cannot do everything on your own. We need men. We need real men. So if the men have fallen because it's a silent war and they're not being supported, guess who is swept up in the war and are casualties of war? Women and children. Let's go to the next one because I'm about to fall off my soapbox. Okay. Number 4, others notice your irritability or your experience of sudden mood swings, emotionally, mentally, physically. Like I said at the top, right? How you feel, you are always entitled to your feelings. But just because you have suppressed your emotions and may be a bit salty, that no one may be able, or you assumed in your mind that no one would be able to understand you or help you, does not give you any right to lash out at people. And when this starts happening, this is how you know that you may or may not need rest to one or to more than one degree. And speaking from experience, when you don't get the proper rest that you need, the enemy likes to come and destroy you from within, to isolate you and to disrupt things in your life because you were not able to get the rest you needed. Rest and happiness are cousins. When you don't get the rest that you need, your happiness, you are sacrificing. And if there's one thing I can say to also stick in your mind in this episode, misery loves company and happiness is a choice. Choosing to deal with your emotions, your mentality, your body, and your spirit is a choice. When you have been given another day to get up out of bed, I don't even care if you're bedridden and physically you are sick. You still have to deal with your mentality, your emotions, and your spirit. That is a gift. When you still have air in your lungs and life in your body, to be able to be a spiritual being in a human experience, to get things right, to better things. And because you feel or make assumptions or are scared of rejection of getting help or being judged, you're going to transfer those negative emotions that root in you to somebody else. Why? Again, you are entitled to your feelings, but you are not supposed to lash out at people. This is a telltale sign. Again, you need one or more forms of rest. Let's go to the next one. Number 5, you have a hard time concentrating. Maybe you're a bit forgetful of both events or tasks. Maybe you need constant reminders, whether it be in the form of your coworkers reminding you about things, your immediate family, your friends. You programmed everything you could possibly use in your phone to remind you about certain things, but it just seems so hard. And mentally, you might have already checked out. This is a telltale sign that you are probably suffering from what I call, and what psychology calls, burnout. And it starts usually within the mind, but it can also get to some physical aspects where, again, like at the top, you might have a hard time mentally dealing with life and all the things that are thrown at you. And now, because you thought yourself into burnout and wondering how you're going to deal, you now are experiencing physical symptoms that are ongoing. They're not acute, they're chronic, meaning it goes from, oh, just a couple episodes to now I'm so accustomed to the pain, I didn't even realize it's been like 6 weeks of nonstop pain. That's not normal. When it gets to this point, you more than likely need rest for your mind or your body or both. Let's go to the next one. And boy, moms, I feel for you. I am not a mother. I hope to be one someday, possibly if the Most High grants me that. Okay. But the way I see moms really juggle so much, or just dads as well, especially the single ones, hats off to you. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Number 6, you may no longer be interested or motivated in things that were once enjoyable. This can be mental and or emotional. Sometimes, right, when we experience this burnout where it mostly started mentally and spiritually at times, not always the case, but it can. Again, it's usually the mental and the spiritual that then affect the emotional, which manifest into physical. Okay. Once you start recognizing, or somebody else may call it out, that the things that you like to do habitually or routinely every week, let's say, hey, on Wednesdays, I like to meet with my friend at Fridays. I like to meet up for Glee Club. I don't know. I'm a singer, so maybe I'm a little biased. Do I have any friends that sing? No. Do they invite me to karaoke? No, because it's unfair, but I still wanted to come. Okay. Gosh, okay. If any of y'all wants to invite me to karaoke and you live in New York, holla at me, okay? I'm just saying. I'm just going to put that out there. But back to what I was saying. If you're used to saying, hey, every Saturday, I like to go with my homegirl and get our nails done, but you slowly start to see your friend or yourself pulling away from these activities, things that you used to be so passionate whether it be a podcast, whether it be hitting the studio, anything. And now all of a sudden it becomes labor to you. It doesn't feel like fun anymore. That is a telltale sign that you may need a break and something else deeply rooted is going on that you're ignoring. But don't worry, we're going to talk about how you get rest from that too. Let's go to the next one. Number 7, you or someone else may notice a significant decrease in productivity to where others may even need to address sudden changes. Oh my goodness. If this right here doesn't wake some of you up to realize how important rest is, you know it's bad and you need a break when others start to tell you, yo, Shaina, yo, One Track, you have not been yourself lately. I don't know what's going on, but I want the old Shaina back. I want the old One Track back. I feel like nothing hurts more than somebody you actually love, admire, or care about telling you, I miss the old you. And not in a way that's demeaning, but in a sense that I can tell something's wrong because I love you and I know you. If that's not enough reason to get it together and figure out what you need, because whether you like to admit it or not, you may not think you're all that important, but I guarantee someone in your life makes you feel special because you mean something to them. Every single person listening to this right now under the sound of my voice, I guarantee you make somebody's day. You make somebody's life better. And what an honor it is. And how humble does that make you for them to call you out in a loving way and say, I just need you back. I need the essence, your spirit that comes with you. That makes me feel better. I need you to get back to who I know you are. And I feel that men in particular, it is very hard for you to deal in this society where it seems, again, emotionally, women are always at the forefront and are coddled more and are supported more. Whole time men are not encouraged to do this, but yet they're supposed to be encouraged to take care of an entire household or an entire family. Maybe you're the CEO, CFO, manager, supervisor, whatever. You too, like women who are parents, may have several hats to wear. Between 9 to 5 is one hat, and between 5 to 10 is another, and between 10 to 7 is another. It's just, when does it stop? And when you're not dealing with the mental anguish, the emotional anguish, the physical anguish, the spiritual anguish, and it starts to show in your productivity, it actually makes you feel worse about yourself when society always encourages men in however many ways that success should be at the forefront of your mind. So when you're no longer successful, quote unquote, in one particular area because you're hyper focused on what isn't instead of what is or what you can fix to be better, that's got to play at your ego as well. And yes, this applies to women too, but I want to focus on the men. It is very hard, and it does take a lot of humility to say, I'm not okay, in a world where it's very hard to trust people to begin with. You need to talk to somebody. It doesn't necessarily have to be your significant other. And please don't let it be your children. Because guess what? And this part here is especially for women as well. Eventually, when you have children, right, and they grow up and they start their own families, guess who doesn't have time for you anymore? The same way that they used to, because they're catering to their other half and their offspring. It is very important that you find the support you need. And we're going to talk about the rest that comes with this as well. Let's go to the next one. Number 8. You know you may need rest when it comes to this. When people start to see cynicism and sarcasm outside of how they would normally see you, this is how we know, Houston, we have a problem. And again, this is spiritual, mental, and emotional. Let me tell you the dark sides of cynicism. Cynicism says, I know it all, but I don't trust you, even though you may or may not have love for me. It says, I'm building a wall, I'm lighting a match. If things go boom, or you don't have direct contact with me anymore, I'm okay with that. I choose myself to isolate over having open, cut, and honest communication with you. That's what that says, and it's selfish. Sarcasm is a way of straight up belittling those who may be trying to go out of their way, step outside a place of ego, and enter humility to make sure you're okay. It says, I'm done with you before you even start with me. Ooh. Open your hands. Open your hands, y'all. I'm about to throw it. Did you catch it? Ooh. Especially when it comes to friendships. If you start to see somebody speak from a place of cynicism and sarcasm, this is how you know they probably were feeling some way for a long time. And this may even go beyond rest that they need. This probably could be a couple mixtures of emotion. And I'm going to be honest, it could come from a corrupt spirit. But this is the importance. This right here, this is where I say it, like the internet loves to say, it is important to know your Judas from your Peter. Some of you don't understand what I just said, so I'm going to explain it this way. It is important for you to know who has a bad day and who is zealous and who has the ability to be a friend to you but just had an off day, versus a person who is corrupt and you don't want anything to do with because their spirit isn't right. Did you catch that also? Yes, I paused on purpose. YouTube ain't messing up today. Let's go to the next one, because we gonna talk about that type of rest too, so that you can be a Peter and not be a Judas. Okay. Number 9. This is how you definitely know you may need proper rest. When you start using vices and you isolate yourself as a crutch to refrain from open and honest communication to receive the help you need to help you combat negative feelings, you need rest. Okay? You may need all 4 of them, for the spiritual, for the mental, for the emotions, and for the physical. Now listen. I'm not judging anybody who smokes cigarettes or smokes, period, okay? With today's world, and especially today's dating pool and these kids, whoa. When things left and right in the workplace, places you have to go and you can't escape, are driving you crazy, there's no way out. It's pretty easy to say, you know what? When I have the power and I'm in control, which nobody really is in control all the time, but that false sense of security of saying, you know what? My friends want to go out tonight. I think I'm going to spend some time by myself. But you're not using that time wisely to rest in the way that you need to, because you're not even acknowledging that you have a problem. You have the ability to isolate, but you're not doing it in the right way. How are you supposed to get better? Especially if you're not telling anybody and you're not being real with yourself. How are you going to tell other people? You're not real with yourself. You can't be real with anybody else. How are you supposed to get the rest you need? And I'm talking to myself too. You can smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day. Shoot, you can smoke a keg of cigarettes a day. If you're not getting the right rest, there'll never be enough. There'll never be enough L's to smoke. For my people, all right. Because I don't know what state you're in and I don't know if it's legal. There'll just never be enough if you don't get the right rest. There'll never be enough of a high to chase if you're not resting the way you need to. If you're not dealing with the emotions, your mind, your body, and your spirit the way you need to. It will never be enough. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care about the advantage you think you have. It is okay to say, I am not going to be in control all the time, but I can control my temperance. I can control my attitude. And I need to understand why I feel this way. That is the one thing you have control over. But instead, you're worrying about everything else you can't control. And now you're hyper fixed on the sense of isolating and being in control. Let it go. Let go and let God. Let's go to the next one. Number 10. You may be trying to find loopholes to get out of situations that feel too overbearing, whether it be people, places, or things. And again, this is all for how many times, under the guise of I'm not feeling my best, or the quote unquote I'm tired, the idea of avoidance instead of being real with yourself and getting the rest you need, you now in your mind start to think about how to get out of things, whether it be, oh, I have this event, I have this project. Now you find yourself procrastinating, avoiding conversations and people. Not only at that point do you need rest, you probably need to take accountability that you're also dodging as well. Mm-hmm. Ladies, can I talk to you for a second? I think the best way in the year 2024 to scare a woman is not saying boo. It's saying take accountability, take accountability, take accountability. We can't place all the blame on men for the way society is now. Yes, some of them do have a part to play in it. But if we didn't hold them to ridiculous standards the way we have been trying to break their ridiculous standards they've had for us, at what point do we take shared accountability and stop saying, well, my wife is always right, my girl is always right? Your constant search for loopholes is what has you running mentally in your mind from situations that may not even be there to begin with, or never will or would exist. And then you wonder why men in this day and age are becoming more avoidant. They don't want to necessarily come home to you anymore because all you do is nag instead of making a place of peace, and vice versa. Now she don't want to come home and she'd rather be with her girls. She'd rather find a loophole so that she doesn't have to deal with your attitude of being overbearing and controlling. Because I'll tell you this much, fellas, you hear me? Before she was your woman, before she was your girlfriend, before she was your wife, that was God's daughter. And still is. And is. Okay? When you have the urgency to find loopholes to avoid things, you're doing yourself a disservice. You probably need rest in more than one level. I said what I said. Now, after saying all this, one track, what is it that we need to get the proper rest? Like, how do we go about this? Well, let's talk about it. All right, so since you know everything and you got your little degree, one track, it's like that. Now, after identifying where the source of my tiredness comes from, whether it be mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, what can I do to feel rested again? What can I do to feel less anxious? What can I do to not feel restless? Okay, well, we have to look at the different kinds of rest. So I have comprised a secondary list of the 7 types of rest that you may need and what it looks like and what you should do. You're welcome. Don't ask me for nothing for Christmas because I don't got no money. I got it. Okay. I got bills. Okay. Thank you kindly. But I also will not be shaking a cup on this internet. If you'd like to bless me, I'm not opposing. But I'm not about to shake a cup and have nothing to offer you. What I do here is free of charge. Okay, I'm not charging you. But if you want to bless me, all right. I'm just saying. Now, let's start with number 1. Some of you may need physical rest, which is more so on the obvious side when you need it, right? When you start to feel physical aches and pains, your body more than likely needs to rest through A, sleep, B, maybe meditation, something to calm your mind, especially before you go to sleep, because it is very hard to sleep when you have a lot going on your mental. But some people may also benefit from stretching. Listen, I just joined the 30 and up club, okay? I'll be the first one to admit I enjoy stretching because I feel like my knees and ankles need an oil change every now and then. And y'all can laugh if you want to, but I don't have knees like Megan. Okay. I also did invest in some equipment, okay, to help. If you need information about that, I'll be more than happy to share off of this. And you'll also be surprised how light activity just through walking alone. If you're a person who likes to go for strolls, but you feel physically things manifest because you didn't deal with it spiritually, mentally, or emotionally, just a small walk alone, maybe not every day because you don't have the time or you're not willing to make the time yet. Try it. What's the harm in at least trying something? Okay. You don't have to suffer. In regards to physical pain, you don't have to suffer. You don't always have to grab the bottle of Advil liquid gels, which, by the way, are pretty bad for your stomach. Okay. Stop reaching for painkillers and start dealing with the source. Stop masking the reason why you're feeling how you're feeling and start dealing with the underlying causes. We don't need any more band aid solutions. We just need a better way of doing things so we don't have to feel these pains as much. Amen? Or I'm wildin'. Let's go to the next one. Some of you may need a mental rest. Turn off your brain. Some of you are overstimulated by the what ifs, the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, the constant researching, your work tasks, the meeting you're thinking about that you're going to do fine at because you've rehearsed in the mirror 30 million times. Here's the solution from my personal opinion and through research. Sometimes when you're overthinking, you're either A, trying to suppress emotions because you're trying to think yourself out of feeling, or B, you're worrying. Worrying is a way of doubting that you're capable. If you change your attitude and you assume, even if you're not 100% confident, and you just say, you know what, I can do this, the words that you speak to yourself, even if it's not out loud, you can speak life not just to your mind and your body, but your spirit. And it's also important for those of you who are overthinkers, and I'm in that club from time to time. Journaling has helped me so much, especially when it comes to the times where the enemy will attack your confidence by reminding you of everything that's wrong. You can spit back at him everything that has gone right with those same exact circumstances, whether it be from a year ago, 2 years ago, 2 weeks ago. When you start focusing on everything that has gone right instead of everything that could go wrong, if you change your perspective, it stops yourself from overthinking, which is unnecessary most of the time. You're living in a place of trauma, not a place of healing when you overthink. Having that type of creative outlet to look past what you currently have on your plate and to be hopeful that even if you fail, you're one step closer to succeeding, because success is not through a straight line. And success, the best type of success, usually comes from many failures and many no's. And a lot of those no's are really just a not right now, or I have something better. Did you catch it? Okay, let's go to the next one. Number three, you might need social rest. When you notice that specific people or a particular crowd can start to affect your energy, you may need to disengage. This goes hand in hand with emotions. You have to figure out who and what triggers which emotions. I will sit here and be the first to admit, I am not trying to come off as dishonest and not true to myself, but I'd be a liar if I said that certain people didn't bring out certain attributes within me. Hmm. Have you ever noticed personally how when you hang out, even with particular family members, you may act sillier or goofier, or you may feel more calm versus others who are just like, I love them, but I don't know if I can relax and be a certain way around them. I might have to be a little bit more serious. They might be more easily offended. Same with friendship. And friendship in your adulthood, that's really just extended family that you choose. There's the family you were born into, and then there's the family that you choose, which is your friendships. If your friendships or your crowd is not built within the same type of moral compass, they don't understand the practicality, or they don't understand on a level that you do certain things that mean so much to you based on experience or upbringing, they drain you. It's a pretty good indication that you may need social rest. Maybe you're not quite ready to end the friendship, because I'm be honest, certain people you may have a gut feeling about, but they haven't done anything to you. But it's important to even let people hang themselves, where you're not really going to get the essence of a person until they build a certain track record with you. And with track records, that comes with time. Some people are so afraid of people doing them wrong, they won't let anybody around them. But that's not who we are created to be. We are creatures of habit, but we're also creatures of packs. As much as you like to say that you are okay with being independent, sometimes it's a crutch, because we weren't designed to do that. Even through the quote unquote evolution. Hunters and gatherers needed each other at night, at day, in shifts to what? Protect from predators and to gather food. So who are you to say that you're okay being alone and you don't need any friends and you don't need anybody around you? You're a liar. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. Eventually, everybody needs somebody. You didn't birth yourself, okay? Two people decided to get down on the dance floor, for lack of better words, and here you are. All right? That's besides the point. Some of you refuse to accept that you may need social rest and it's costing you. You're being cynical. You're being sarcastic. You're lashing out. You're bleeding on people who didn't cut you. It's okay to skip all the social hoopla. It's all right. One thing about being outside, it'll never go away. Number 4, you may need spiritual rest. No matter how much sleep, entertainment, food, fun, etc., 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 you still don't feel fulfilled in your life. Sometimes you just need to prioritize yourself and find your life's purpose by volunteering, outreach, etc. I cannot stress the importance of when you have that coming to age moment. I feel like it happens different in different stages of people's lives, but on average, science says that the adult brain does not reach full maturity until about the age of 26. I don't know what it is about that number, but that was so on point for me that it's kind of like Jesus tapped me in my third eye, if that even exists, and was like, sis, you need to live life and do something that's more than yourself. You need to be able to feel fulfilled by living out your purpose. And I have multiple. Me and Jesus be talking all the time. Sometimes I be trying to sleep. He'll wake me up out my sleep to talk to him. I be wanting to fight him, but I'm like, yo, dad, come on. It's 4 a.m. But he's like, yo, sis. Not yo, sis, but you know what I mean. He's like, all right, Shay, hear me out. You know that thing that makes you uncomfortable but makes me happy because you're serving others? I need you to continue doing that. You know that YouTube channel that you started as a social experiment that helps others to put things into perspective because I gave you this type of spirit, this hunger, this drive to help my people out. I need you to continue doing this. Don't worry about where the funds are coming from. Don't worry about the time. Don't worry about the background noise trying to distract you. Don't worry about the ice cream truck that keeps circling around, even though it's October and it's cold outside. And who needs ice cream? Okay? I need you to do what I told you to do. I need you to be obedient to what I have because there's blessings that come from that, from being spiritually grounded, and you're going to feel better. It might not always feel good, but you'll always eventually feel better. Living out that life's purpose. Maybe my purpose doesn't look like yours, and maybe it doesn't make sense to anybody else. Stop telling people what your purpose is in life. Let them see it. Let them see how happy you may be or how fulfilling you feel when you live that out. But in order to do that, you need to disengage with a lot of people and find things and experience things for yourself spiritually. You need to go and be around people who may understand you on that level. Because I'm sad to say, not everybody's going to experience spiritual rest because they're being selfish in the wrong way. The best way to get spiritual rest is when you're selfish in regards to working on you and not letting anybody come in between you and yourself. And this is important to do through mentorship or seeking support groups. Maybe you're struggling right now with any form of like addiction that you feel that maybe a higher power, a spirituality boost may benefit. Look into that. Or just the act of helping others, even though you may not be feeling your best right now. Something spiritual about being selfless in a society where they encourage narcissism and they encourage doing you and not caring about other people. Especially for, let me just go to the next one. Because, baby. Woo. Number 5, you may need a sensory rest. Ooh, fancy. So some of you just be doing the absolute most while doing nothing. Maybe you have too many notifications on your phone, right? Your phone is pinging, ponging, punging, whatever. Okay? I made those words up. Don't judge me. Are you the type of person that literally gets annoyed when you just have way too much going on? Through people hugging you, kissing up on you, touching you, right? You're just like, whoa, this is too much. This is when I knew I needed sensory rest, because when I first came across these problems, I didn't even know what sensory rest was. But sometimes, right, as a person who can identify as an introvert, but society would label as an ambivert because I can be outgoing, but when my social battery is drained, baby, I want to go home, I want to drink apple juice, and I want to be left alone. That's enough. That's, as my grandfather would say, that's enough. That's enough. Okay? You may need that sensory rest where you're not stimulated by anything, not by people who call you only when things are bad, but never acknowledge you when things are good in their life. Did you catch that? Sometimes you're not feeling the family that comes over for Thanksgiving. Maybe you know they're fake. Okay? Maybe they, as my West Indians would say, my spirit don't take. My spirit don't take them. Okay? You may need a sensory rest where you're like, you know what? Let me go get something out of the car that isn't there, but I'm gonna say it's there. I need a rest before I say something and lash out and I'm a cynical person and I'm sarcastic. I need to chill. Let me go to the next one because I feel judged just a tad. Stop silently judging me. Number 6, emotional rest. Do you feel like you can't express yourself without offending others? Again, that reasoning of I need to maybe isolate because I don't feel understood, or I feel like people are dedicated to misunderstanding me, even though logically I'm explaining things how I should. They're not hearing you. Well, they are hearing you, but they're not actively listening to you emotionally or mentally, right? Have you spent so much time prioritizing others over yourself? Let's say, even back to the spiritual, right? You spent so much time being sacrificial, giving up your time and things for the greater good, making sure everybody else on your team that you work with is okay, whether it be at work, whether it be a project outside for recreational purposes, right? A sports team, a music group, whatever. You prioritize so much, give so much of yourself to everybody else. Sometimes it's just a matter of I have to put on one face for another person and a second face for these group of people and a third face for those who have intimate relationships with me. And that's okay. But at some point, you're going to have to check in and say, okay, I'm doing the absolute most. I need rest emotionally. And how do you do that? Sometimes you might just need a girls' night out or a boys' night out, or you just may need some time with friends or your significant other. I'll be the first to admit, I don't care how old I am, I will always enjoy taking a stroll with friends or a significant other, walking on the boardwalk. And me personally, I don't know. People be trying to label me as some type of Oprah or Dr. Phil, but there's just something about a good car parked session where you can cry, like, I mean, ugly cry, where my lashes is falling off. Okay. And I'm crying because you crying and I care about you. And now I got to fight. Now I got to see how much bail money that you can come up with because don't mess with my friend. Not really. I'm just joking. But you know what I mean? There's just so much peace that one can feel just by hanging around the right people for emotional rest, where you feel understood, you don't feel judged, you're in the right company, you can cry till the boogies run down your nose and all your face, right? And they just gonna laugh, and we're gonna enjoy a nice Coca-Cola afterwards and say these calories don't count because I just needed to have a good time. Okay? I'm not a dietitian either. I forgot to put that in the disclaimer. So don't sit here and have a Coke on me and then blame me for it later if your waistline get too big or your back starts to get bigger, okay? Don't listen to me about that, okay? Let me go to the next one. Because okay, I'm wilding because I missed y'all, okay? Are we family or not? I already said we family. So if you're listening to this long and you still here, we definitely family now. What? Okay, let's go to the next one. And last but certainly not least, some of you just need creative rest. One track. Sis, you creative rest? What does that look like? Okay, so you're an artist now, is that what you're telling me? You getting ready to go find yourself so you can paint a Picasso or something? No, it's not just limited to that. Creative rest you may need if, let's say, you feel stuck or lost. You were once inspired to do something so that you can enhance your experience in your hobby, right? In order to kind of get out of that bubble or that environment or that headspace, you may need to travel. You may need to have a mentor in regards to, hey, I'm experiencing this right now. How did you get over this? Or have you ever experienced this? To which I'm sure most people who take on some form of mentorship, 9 times out of 10, they've gone through what you've gone through already. So why not just ask somebody who has experienced that? Put your pride to the side, be humble, and understand that we're all human. The teacher only became the teacher because they realized no matter if they're called a teacher or not, as long as you live, you will always be a student. If you're not learning and if you're not aging, you're dying. Yes. And why die mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually if you don't have to? Granted, I get the physical part, so we can throw that out. That's just how nature, that's just how things go. But why choose to suffer silently and continue to slowly off yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually if you can get mentorship? If somebody can say, Shaina, you may need to change environments for a little bit. You may need to detach. Get rid of or leave the familiar, go into the unknown, get new perspective, come back, embody it, and be the most successful person you can possibly be. Be the best encourager ever. Be the best singer ever. That's important. And you're going to have to do that whether you like it or not, or else you're going to crash and burn. And I'm going to leave you with something that I learned while taking this hiatus. Identifying your needs comes with sacrifices. Happiness and rest go hand in hand because when you make yourself happy without sacrificing others' happiness, others respect you more. There is no way I can continue this channel, even if I don't come frequently as I used to, which I'll explain maybe in a separate video for those who may need some much needed relief. And you're wondering what's going on with One Track, okay? I owe you that much because you are family. But I need you to understand. Yes, I joked around a lot in this episode. That's just my personality. But I would be a POS if I came to you right now fronting for the internet and saying I have it all together, okay? Knowing I don't. There are some things that are happening in the world right now, and I felt led to talk about this because rest leads to restoration. When you're able to restore everything you've lost, but you can't get the rest or restoration you need if you don't know what you lost. There's too many silent battles and wars going on right now, and I love you too much to have come on in previous weeks knowing that it wasn't the right time to speak on this, or I need to speak on topics that I myself would not be hypocritical if I spoke on this. I'm not a pastor, I'm not a teacher, I'm not a therapist, I'm not none of that. I'm coming to you with a heart that's full because I'm on fire for what the Most High has exposed to me. Okay? And I know that previously in July, I said I was going to have something in regards to identity that's coming. I'm working on it. I did not forget. But when it comes to identity, there's no way I could not talk about something as important as rest. Because again, if rest goes hand in hand with happiness, how are you supposed to really know you're happy if you don't know yourself? But in order to get that way, even if you're not completely sure of yourself or of who you are as far as identity, you know when you're happy and when you're not. You know when you're faking the funk and when you're not. So I needed to speak on this. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for staying in tune with me. This has been a crazy year and it's not even over yet. But again, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for sticking with this channel, this social experiment that I've been doing since July of 2023. Thank you for the emails that you guys have sent, the DMs. You know who you are. Thank you for the donations. But ultimately, thank you for the time that you put in the live chat, in the comment sections. I honestly value comments and you just being in the live chat more than anything else because you teach me so much based on just perception of what I'm doing. Being the person who records and edits everything to just sitting back and saying, okay, they gave me new perspective on something and they didn't even know I needed that. So thank you. Thank you to the One Track family. I appreciate y'all so much. And I will let y'all know in the community section when I will be posting announcements and what the channel will look like from here on out and what we'll be doing somewhat, because I can't tell you everything. But anywho, I love you. The Most High loves you. I hope all of you have a great rest of your day, no matter what time of day you're listening. And I will see you next time. Later, track stars.